Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Bench's Book Reviews. What's in the box today? It is... Wait, ooh, here we go. Careful. It is Katie and the Bathers by James Mayhew. And there's a little subline, Make Art an Adventure. So let's see, it's already got someone who appears to be a bather on the front cover. So we'll see if Katie meets them and any other fellow bathers. This is part of the Katie series, as I call it, which is what this girl Katie. Here we go then. It has nice illustrations. So there's one. That's Katie with her, I think that's her grandmother. Excuse me, have a little sip of this. It was a sunny day. That's written in all caps. They haven't just calligraphized the first letter, they've written the whole first clause. Up to the first comma in capitals. It was a sunny day, and Katie and Grandma were feeling hot and bothered. Let's go swimming. Sorry, I've got something in my throat. No, that's got it. Let's go swimming, said Grandma. I'll get our swimsuits. Doesn't say where they are. They have to return home for the swimsuits. Or they're just in the garden. But that's a nice thing. It's called Katie and the Bathers, and they're already talking about swimming. When they got to the pool, I guess that's a swimming pool, it was already full. And that's nice. There's a sign that says, you see that? It says pool full. And it also looks very full. If you look in the background, there are lots of people. Never mind, we'll come back later, said Grandma. The art gallery is nearby. Let's go there for a while. Now, if you've read many of these Katie books, you'll know that they often go to art galleries. Not in all of them. I did a review of Katie in Scotland, and she doesn't go to any art galleries there. But in many of them she does, so this is more of a standard format Katie book. And there they are in the art gallery, and Katie is standing in front of a sign that says Pointillism. So I guess she's going to visit some pointillism. In the gallery, it felt even hotter. That's not good. Not good for the paintings. You expect decent air conditioning and controlled climate in art galleries. But maybe they have microclimates controlled around the paintings, and the guests have to face the elements. While Grandma had a little snooze, she often does that in the Katie books. And there she's snoozing on a bench. Katie found a room full of amazing pictures. They were painted in thousands of brightly coloured dots. Well, that's quite nice because, I'd already spotted the sign saying pointillism. But they don't put the complicated word pointillism in the text, but they have the little indicator in the picture, so you can kind of figure out what's going on. If they had wanted to, they could have done something similar. With the pool full, they could have written, when they got to the pool it was already full, and then had a sign in the picture saying pool at maximum capacity or something. For the person who wants to learn some slightly more advanced vocabulary. Anyway, next page. Katie saw a painting called Bathers at Asnières. That looks French, so I may be pronouncing it wrong, but I'm going to say Asnières. It's probably Georges if he's French, and then it's probably something like Seurat. It's spelled S-E-U-R-A-T. So I'm going to call him Georges Seurat. I don't know any French, so that may be wrong. She could almost feel the breeze blowing over the soft grass and hear the gurgling river. That painting, actually, there's the bather from our front cover. There he is. I don't know how accurate a likeness that is of the actual painting. I assume that Bathers at Asnieres is a real painting. So I don't know if the illustrator, James Mayhew, reproduced it, or if he does something clever with photographs and scans and things to put the proper painting inside his picture. I would expect it's that, because otherwise that's quite a challenge. Anyway, she could almost feel the breeze, which is nice because she's very hot. So if she could feel the breeze blowing, that would cool her down a bit, but she can't. What a great place for a swim, thought Katie. So she climbed over the frame and inside the picture. She does that a lot in these books. She climbs into the pictures. And here she is, you see, she's now inside the picture. So there's Bathing Boy from earlier, and there's Katie now, in the world of the picture. It was warm and peaceful in the picture. That's warm is now a decrease in temperature following the hot art gallery. So it's more pleasantly warm, I guess, rather than stiflingly hot. The sun shone, oars splashed. Well, you can see a couple of people who may have oars. There is something that looks a bit like a French flag here, a tricolore, which would be another indicator that this is in France, as well as the French name Asnieres, or French sounding. Anyway, oars splashed, and a boy in a red hat, oh there he is, so he is quite the star, called to the boats racing on the river. Katie saw a little bathing hut. That's this little outhouse-like thing over here. So I guess that's more of a bathing hut than a toilet. And decided to change into her swimsuit. She still got it with her because they were going to go to the pool, if you remember. Then she jumped into the water with an enormous splash. Bonjour! That doesn't mean wow or anything, that just means hello, actually. Said the boy in the red hat. I'm Jacques. I'm Katie, said Katie. It says I'm Jacques, it doesn't say anything, it's in English, but he's speaking English. Although he said bonjour in French. So there you go, he's multilingual. At least bilingual. I'm Katie, said Katie. Isn't this lovely? Oui, laughed Jacques. Means yes. Très bon, which means very good. I know I said earlier in this video that I don't know any French. I do know some French, but very little. But I know oui and très bon and bonjour. So this is probably aimed at people like me who only know very little French. Anyway, so she's got her swimsuit on and he said hello, and very good. After lots more splashing, must be a river that's got a bit of a hang to it then. She can jump in like that. A lot of rivers have quite a shallow rake. They're not that good for jumping in and bathing, but I guess this is an excellent bathing point. So it's set up like that. After lots more splashing, Katie sat down on the picture frame to rest. So the picture frame is also accessible from the world. But it started to tip. Oh dear, look at this. Jacques is worried. You see she's now half in and half out of the world, and water is gushing from the river into the art gallery. And there's even a little fish with it. And the river began pouring into the gallery, yes. And Jacques caught some of the fish in his hat. He's joined her in the real world. This is better than the swimming pool, Katie laughed. Okay. I mean, it's not better for swimming because it's still very shallow, but it's got all these nice. You can't really see that, but it's got these nice pictures in it, and maybe it's more chaotic. Maybe she's a lover of chaos. And Jack's joined her, which is nice. But then they heard a sigh from another painting. Oh, so now sound is even travelling from the paintings into the art gallery. Another painting by Zura called... I mean, you can't really tell looking at these things that they're pointillism, but I guess they are. I mean, I guess unless it's a book, it's not an enormous wall-sized painting, so maybe you just can't see the individual points. Called Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Le Grand Jatte. Jatte. Katie saw a little girl in a white dress. And there she is, right in the middle of the painting. There. She looked rather sad, so Katie climbed inside the picture. So she's going to comfort the sad girl. I don't know what Jack's going to do. Jack seems to have stayed in the gallery. Katie found herself in a park, where everyone looked very elegant and grand. Well, they've dressed up for Sunday afternoon. That's what people do. Oh, you are lucky, sighed the little girl. It's such a hot day. Well, they want to go to Asnieres, where it's really warm. But no one is allowed to bathe in this painting. So she knows she's in a painting. That's kind of cool. This looks a bit more obviously pointillist. You can see a lot of little dots, like on the grass. And on that lady's fascinator. I guess it's a fascinator. That's quite interesting. You know you're in a painting. I guess they look out into the gallery and like, well, if there's an art gallery there, I must be in a painting. Otherwise, why would there be an art gallery there? So no one's allowed to bathe. They're all too posh on Sundays. Or I don't know if there's like, because of noise levels, there may have been laws on the island of Le Grand Jatte about bathing on Sundays. Like in Germany, you're not allowed to throw away, you're not allowed to use bottle banks on Sundays because of the volume. So it may be similar to that. Can't see anyone throwing away any old bottles here either. There is a hound that looks like it might be barking, and something that looks like a monkey. But otherwise, people seem to be just hanging out. And a couple of boats on the water, actually, they're probably a bit loud. So maybe it's just the water's dirty. It's not really explained. Come and paddle in the gallery, said Katie, because this is like paddle level water, even if you can't swim. It's lovely and cool. Well, the gallery was very hot, but I guess having all that water tipped into it has cooled it down. Oh, Prudence, please say yes, pleaded the girl to her governess. Now, if they're in France, I don't know why they're called Prudence. Maybe Prudence is a French governess name, or it could be a posh English person called Prudence who's working as a governess in France, so she can learn a bit of French on a gap year. That's possible, like an au pair type thing. Well, be sure to keep your... Oh, well, not wheel, sorry. No apostrophe in that. Well, be sure to keep your clothes dry, Josette. That sounds more French, said Prudence. Well, she'll have to take her socks off. Oh, she's taking her shoes off. Okay. And she's kind of hooking up her dress. So she's doing what Prudence said. That's nice. Loads of them are getting out the picture now. What a splendid idea, said the elegant people. Let's paddle too. The ladies hitched up their skirts, and the gentlemen rolled up their trousers. And then they all had a wonderful time paddling in the gallery. Quite sure there's a fishing rod. I'm not quite sure what it's doing. It seems to be hooking. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Prudence has done it as well, though. Yes, wonderful. But water was still pouring out of the painting. That's the first painting. It's getting too deep to paddle, said Josette, standing on the steps, particularly if you need to keep your clothes dry. How will we get back over to our picture, said the elegant people. We can't swim in these clothes. That is a tricky thing. Let's fetch a boat, said Katie. She pointed to another picture by Zorat called Port of Honfleur. It's got an H on the front, but I'm pretty sure that's silent. Katie and Jacques swam over to the painting and quickly clambered inside. There they are. So now Jacques gone into another painting, so that's another possibility we haven't had so far. Someone exiting one painting and then going into another one. So it's almost like they're just all free to travel wherever they like. They found a little rowing boat in... This one's very pointillist. They found a little rowing boat in the harbour. It was quite heavy, but they managed to drag it over the frame and into the gallery. Then off they rowed to the rescue. They're not having to go very long distances, I don't expect. We'll go first, said Prudence, helping Josette into the boat. Children and women first is normally what you do in these rescue situations. But when it was her turn, her foot slipped, the boat moved away, and... Splash! Prudence fell into the water. Oh, she's got very wet. Just look at my dress, she wailed. How will I ever get dry? And she was the one who said, don't get your clothes wet. Nightmare. And her hat is wet as well. It's fallen off her head. And she's got a fish coming out of her hair. And the girl in the white dress is just laughing. That does happen to people who aren't used to getting into boats. Getting into boats is actually a classic way of falling in the water. Perhaps she'll help, said Katie, pointing to a picture called Woman Hanging Up the Washing by Camille Pissarro. It's a painting of a woman hanging up some washing. Prudence scrambled inside the painting. She's scrambling in because she's in such a state of disarray. She remember Jacques, and Katie clambered inside, which is more of a concerted climb, but scrambling is much more erratic. Quite like that. Good use of different verbs. Followed by Katie and Josette, and they've gone in as well too. Well, Jacques rowed off to rescue the elegant people and take them back to their picture. Sorry, I just accidentally hit the space bar. Jacques rowed off to rescue the elegant people and take them back to their picture. I was just going to say, I hope he can keep track of who goes in which picture. Although the boat needs to go back to its picture, I guess, and the elegant people to theirs, and Jacques himself to his. And the others now with woman hanging up the washing. There she is. She looks pretty pointillist as well. The kindly washerwoman gave Prudence some clothes to wear and hung out her wet dress to dry. That is kindly. Then Katie, Josette, and the washerwoman's daughter played in the sun as the women chatted. And now they're playing on some sort of cart or barrow. Suddenly, Katie heard Jacques crawling from the boat. We had that before, that sound could travel between paintings or at least from a painting to a gallery, or vice versa. We must get back to our pictures, said Jacques. The guard is coming. Oh dear, it's the thing where if the guard sees you, you're in big trouble. The guard! Gasped Katie. He'll be horrified when he sees all this water. He will. I don't know if they have a plan for that. Quickly, jump aboard, called Jacques. Prudence changed back into her clothes. It doesn't say if she had a bathing house or something to change, or if she just went behind a sheet. And carefully stepped into the boat. That's much better. She did not step carefully last time. Katie and Josette leapt in after her. That's nice. Leapt with a T on the end. It's normally how I say it, though you do see leaped sometimes. But I like leapt. That's a funny looking painting. Jacques rowed across the gallery while Katie desperately tried to think of a way to get rid of the water. They passed all sorts of pictures. None of them looked very useful. There's a semicolon there. Then Katie saw a painting by Paul Signac called Portrait of Felix Fénéon. That's some sort of bearded bloke. Looks like a magician who's got a top hat and swirly things behind him. Oh, and there he is, yeah. He looks like a magician, that's what I said Katie. So she called, "Excuse me, can you do any magic?" The gallery is a mess and the guard is coming. Well, you need a wizard, really, for this, not a magician. Because magicians just do conjuring tricks and not actual magic. Well, depending on your definition. I mean, this guy looks more like a conjurer than a genuine wizard. But we'll see. Felix wanted to help. Oh no, sorry. Felix wanted to help. So he leant. That's leant and not leaned as well. That's nice. So he leant out of the painting, waved his stick over his hat. It does look more like a stick than a magic wand. And shouted, and shouted abracadabra. Coloured swirls came out of his picture, but the gallery was still flooded. Just a big showman. I'll try again, he said. Alakazam! Oh dear, said Felix, as stars and rainbows floated into the gallery. I'm not very good at magic. That still looks quite nice. Just then they all heard footsteps. It was the guard. Oh, please try once more, begged Katie. Alakazoom, clear up this room, said Felix. That's better, a good rhyme. There was a flash of light and everything vanished in a swirl of stars and colours. Katie found she was standing in her dry clothes, and everyone and everything was back where it belonged, just in time. Even the boat, they got the boat back then. I was a bit worried about the boat. And there's a bearded guard coming around the corner. And now it's just Katie with a load of stars. And she's near the bathers at Asnieres. And there's still Grandma asleep on her bench. The guard looked carefully around the room. Everything was exactly as it should be. Thank you, everyone, whispered Katie. I've had a wonderful time. I don't know if they'll hear that. Or if they've been magically also detached from the shared sound environment. As soon as the guard had gone, Katie gently woke Grandma. Would you like to go swimming now? Yawned Grandma. That was, would you like to go swimming now? I don't feel quite so hot anymore, laughed Katie. In that case, you won't be wanting an ice cream either, said Grandma. She's sharp, isn't she? Oh, I can always manage an ice cream, said Katie. Me too, smiled Grandma. And off they went. Well, Grandma hasn't been splashing around, so I expect she's still quite hot. Oh, and then there's a little bit of information about George Seurat. It's not really part of the story, but it's giving you tips if you want to try out your own pointillist paintings. Oh, and there's a whole sheet of the other Katie books. So yeah, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. I particularly like the use of let and lent. And yeah, it's just quite fun. I mean, they kind of follow that sort of formula, and that was pretty much according to the formula. But it's nice. You get these recurring things. I don't know if you've ever seen Mr. Ben. It's a bit like that. Look that up if you want to. It's a cartoon. It's just a guy who goes into a fancy dress shop, gets changed, and then is suddenly in the place relevant to the clothing that he's wearing. But then at the end of the episode, he kind of is back in the normal world, so it's a bit like that. It's probably a fairly standard model for children's stories, but it works quite well, and I like the way you kind of learn a bit about the art. You know? Like, I'd never heard of Georges Seurat, but now I could look him up and do more research, or even try out my own hand at pointillism if I wanted to. Yeah, so pretty good, pretty friendly, pretty fun. Good use of the imperfect ending in T. And with that, I will see you next time for another of Mr. Bench's book reviews. Bye.